Welcome, everybody. Today, we're talking all things Tony Todd. The late, great Tony Todd unfortunately passed away in 2024, but his movies will always be around. The man's done some iconic things. Today, we're ranking for each of us our top three favorite Tony Todd movies, which guessing we may fall into the same ideas, maybe different order of our rankings, but we'll see. Uh, Nick, just Tony Todd speaking. What's your earliest memory of Tony Todd? What was the first thing you saw him in?
So my earliest memory of Tony Todd was actually Final Destination 2.
Really?
Yeah, I actually had not seen Candyman. I had not seen the first Final Destination yet. And the
Hmm.
only Night of the Living Dead I'd watched at that point was the 68 version.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, my first the first time I saw him was Final Destination 2, and it was just like a little 5-minute cameo, so I never caught his name for it.
It's interesting. You know what my first thing of him was? It was nothing to do with horror either. It was the movie The Rock
Oh yeah.
with Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage.
Yep.
He plays one of the hired goons, and that's the cool thing about Tony Todd. So you'll notice, especially if you go on his IMDb, you'll notice that he does pop up in a lot of supporting roles that have nothing to do with horror that you would never suspect. But The Rock is one of the best action movies, and seeing him there, and also
Remember, he
seeing
became
him.
the Rocket Man in that one.
Oh, well, yeah, he became the Rocket Man, and also seeing him in The Crow. I remember I first saw The Crow a long time ago too, and noticing he's like a hired goon in the Crow also as well. So you're right. His iconic stuff came later on, I guess, for both of us. It's important to remember that, like I said, beyond his iconic roles, the man acted for 30, 35, probably 40 straight years. So there's a lot of stuff that we haven't seen. So there's a lot. If you want to do a true Tony Todd deep dive, just go to his IMDb, look at the many, many things he's done, and start watching them. We're just going to talk about what for us, what is basically his horror highlights. Um, so let's go to. Do you want to give your number three? Like I said, I'm pretty sure we have the same three movies, but our ranking might be different.
I
Uh,
I don't think so because I'm gonna try and keep it to movies he was in majorly. So I'm actually cutting out any of the Final Destination movies because he was only in
Understood.
those at max 5 minutes.
Okay,
And
interesting.
let's
All
face
right.
it, a lot of people do remember him from those movies, and the only one he was not in was Part 4. But yeah,
Which coincidentally is the worst one, by the way.
you're right. But yeah, the honorable mention is Final Destination. But I'm going to try and keep it to movies he was in more a majority of the movie.
Okay.
So with that being said, my number three is actually going to be Hatchet 2.
Oh,
And Vic's
okay.
never actually watched this movie. It's a low budget movie. The main actress got changed out for Danielle Harris. Starts where Hatchet 1 ends, with Danielle Harris going to Tony Todd. And from there, he's actually in a majority of this movie. And come to find out, he's trying to help break the curse. But, his character has a little twist in it, but still a fun slasher, a gory slasher, and definitely a one of my personal opinions, a must watch for people who like B slashers with some excellent gore. Who was done by Adam Green.
Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna add that to my list. So should I watch the original Hatchet first before
Yes,
watching Hatchet 2?
because
Okay.
Hatchet 1 and Hatchet 2, literally Hatchet 2 takes place one day after Hatchet 1. And Tony Todd
Okay.
is still in Hatchet 1, but again, a cameo. He becomes more of a player in part 2.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So double feature of Hatchet 2, and I'm assuming I can probably find them both on Tubi.
I believe so. I can't remember.
Yes. All right. So I hate to say it, I'm gonna go against the rule. I'm still gonna put Final Destination number three, but my reason is because even though he has limited screen time, I feel like he makes the impact of almost like a main character. He's so memorable in Final Destination that I still, for me, have to count it as one of his starring roles. And I'm using the first Final Destination, but basically what I'm doing is I'm using his overall presence in the entire Final Destination series as my number three. So let's say his screen time from all the Final Destination movies, all combined together, his role in Final Destination is overall. Mysterious. Unfortunately, we'll probably never find out what it was because some of us think that he was somebody who originally was in one of Death's plans who escaped.
I think he's
Um,
death,
you think he's Death himself, which, I
which we'll
don't think
find
at
out
all.
with Bloodlines. I think they were talking about the Bloodlines giving him an actual full backstory. So
Yeah, I think that, I'm happy to hear that, yeah, it looks like he actually did film his role in that before passing away, um, so hopefully it's a great last final thing, and, but yeah, he's just, he's the guy that gives the rules in the Final Destination movies, and mysterious, and just I think it's probably because Final Destination is really not about reoccurring characters. They usually do not bring people back for the most part. So
it's
he
because
is like,
everyone dies.
yeah, but that makes him like the kind of the ongoing presence in the series. So I'm going Final Destination now. Granted, after I watched the Hatchet movies, that's one thing too. I haven't seen Hatchet 2, so I didn't even know he had a big role in that. So maybe that will take over.
They probably won't
All right,
change.
we're not. All right, all right. Now this gets very interesting though. Our top two. So if you want to
This is
go to your number two.
I do feel like this is where because my top two is probably his top two most rated, most highly liked movies. With my number two being Night of the Living Dead. You
Mhm.
know, yes, I didn't watch that remake till about 2 years ago, but it's still he did do an extremely good job taking over the Ben character from Dwayne Jones in a sense, and I did like that his character was definitely different still from Dwayne Jones's character. The only downside is though it didn't look like it was racially motivated. Him getting shot at the end, they turned him into a damn zombie.
Mhm. Yep. Well, I have to disagree. Yeah.
Oh damn,
No, number 2, and this is maybe the bold thing. Number 2,
it's gonna be
I'm
bold.
throwing I'm throwing Candyman at number 2. Uh,
We just got canceled for you saying that.
no, no, I don't think so. Listen, forget that, all right? Imma defend my opinion. First of all, one thing we have to say is, for number 3, neither of us appear to consider any of the Candyman sequels to make this list. So, um,
Well, let's face it. Most people are going to assume when you say Candyman, they're probably going to think all the sequels because Tony Todd still did a good job in each sequel. They just sucked ass at scripts.
well, this is what you're saying exactly where I want to differentiate because if we're saying what is his most iconic role, I'm putting Candyman number 1. That is what he'll most be known for. That is his best performance. I'm strictly going by for my top 2, I'm placing them based on which movie I like better overall. So that'd be the difference there. I do agree it's his most iconic role. I do love Candyman. It's a great movie. Um, sequels, I mean, part 2 is not terrible,
He
and I still
literally
haven't
just
seen
rehashed the same exact lines, just not as they just didn't add in like the little echoey, dreamlike state he was in the first movie. So what didn't come out as epic.
From what you've told me, nobody should watch part 3, correct?
Unless you want to see, if I remember correctly, I think the one of the actors from Full House was in it. I can't remember who.
Oh.
I could be also wrong. It's been fucking 500 years since I last saw that movie.
You're saying he kills the Olsen twins in Candyman 3.
Yeah. No.
Yes. Um, Candyman's fantastic. I love it. Who doesn't love the first one? I even like the remake, or it's kind of a requel because it's still a sequel actually,
Yeah.
which Tony Todd had a very brief and memorable cameo in the new one. Iconic, again, amazing movie. It's no knock on that. I like my number 1 a little bit more than this. But this segues into actually your number 1, which you can probably talk about.
Yeah. The reason Candyman's my number one is because, as you brought up, I do, it's more about what movie I like most. And I know for a fact I'm going to throw in Candyman before I throw in Night of the Living Dead. I do like the Candyman movie, the original Candyman movie, the most out of all of his stuff. All the lore you get from that first movie is excellent. The way it's delivered, and then of course Tony Todd's performance itself.
Hmm, mhm. Can you, can you believe that he got, like, what, like, $100 for every bee sting? There was something about, like, any because they use real bees, and any bee sting he got, it was in his contract to get an extra $100, so he made quite a bit of money on Candyman, which means he got stung a lot. Um,
I'm
and
actually
also
surprised by one other thing. It's a good
yeah,
thing. Well, I'm not surprised. Let's just face it. It's a good thing he wasn't allergic.
I don't think he would have taken the role if he was allergic, though. That'd have been
He
very
probably would have
risky, so
taken the role, but they would have had to take out any bees being around him, like maybe do a stunt double
mhm.
for the bees around him.
2 interesting things about Candyman behind the scenes wise is that it was, almost Sandra Bullock playing the woman there, which would have been very interesting to see Sandra Bullock in that role. And then this I still don't believe, but it's always out there that the original
Wesley
choice for
Snipes as
Candyman
Candyman.
even weirder, Eddie Murphy.
Oh god,
Eddie Murphy. I don't know.
no! I could
I
just
would
see it
just
now. Sandra Bullock gives him shit, and he's like, "Shut the fuck up."
never sit on Candyman's coffin. Why are we only thinking about Vampire Brooklyn, which is also underrated movie. Alright. So,
Underrated. I don't think. I think both of us gave that one a shit review too.
no, I defended Vampire Brooklyn, I'm sure. I gotta go back in the archives. That's at least a that's at least a 2.5 stars, damn it. Alright, anyways, my number 1 so the main thing is for me is, like, I'm just very high on the Night of the Living Dead remake. I actually hot take, I think it's better than the original Night of the Living Dead. I prefer that between the 2. Um, I just like the new performances from Tony Todd, from the actors who plays Barbara in this new one. Um, I like the makeup. The fact that Tom Savini's directing the movie means you're getting great makeup. And it has much of the crew of the first one is working on this one. They actually did the remake because the rights issues with the first one made it where they really didn't make a lot of money from the original. So they found this to be a way to make some money off it by redoing it. So
Well, it sounds like they made
um,
no money because it sounds like they didn't even get a copyright attached to it.
they did. It was basically public domain after it came out. I mean, you could pretty much do anything now Living Dead. So they kind of had to do this with a copyright to make some money off the movie, off the series. So just very high on it. And I do think that as iconic as Candyman is, it's not like Tony Todd gets to really stretch his acting abilities in that. It's mostly him using his voice and Night of the Living Dead gives him a really like he gets to really show his acting chops in a big way as Ben pretty much. You get the full range of emotions he gets to show in that one. So Um, I do wanna shout out there's a movie called, Man from Earth with Tony Todd. It's a drama, but it's a really good movie. Little known, it might be on YouTube, but it's more of a straightforward drama, but, if you're curious about his sort of his acting chops, so but again, that's my top 3 for now, but man, who knows? Maybe Hatchet 2 will be number 1 in a few days. I doubt
Well,
it, but
I do want to give one quick honorable mention, and this is just because I'm a gamer, but Tony Todd did give his voice over to play Venom for Spider-Man 2 game. So,
nice.
oh yeah, and of course, his voice plus the character of Venom actually I need to play the game now because it actually sounds amazing. I just wanted to give that quick little nod and you already brought up The Rock, but he was
Oh,
also
yeah.
excellent in The Crow.
Yeah, if you wanted to do a deep dive with just really good movies where he's a supporting character, on top of our top 3, if you wanna do, like, a top 5, I would throw in The Rock, I would throw in The Crow. I mean, those are just great movies, very
You
good
also got
movies.
him in Wishmaster. Very quick
Oh, yeah.
scene, but still kind of funny. Just for some unknown reason, hearing him say, "I wish I could leave this. I wish I could leave this place." And then all of a sudden, he's just in a bucket of water.
Well, and the man was great in everything he did, let's be honest. There's no bad Tony Todd performance on film. The dude was always good.
All right, there's really nothing else to mention. I think all of his other stuff is pretty low budget supporting roles, like Scott Adkins, Debt Collector. He was apparently in. He was in this very, very low budget zombie movie called Shadow Dead Riot. I suggest no one watch that unless you want to
Yeah,
watch a bunch of women prison porn.
honestly, I love Tony Todd, but I can't do that, no.